Finishing a video game after investing hundreds of hours is always a pretty bittersweet moment. Obviously, there's the sense of accomplishment for overcoming all the challenges and obstacles the game has thrown at you, the gratification of seeing everything resolved. However, we've all felt that post-game depression feeling, and sometimes there's just nothing like going through a game first time ever again. Conversely, maybe the solution is to not finish something at all. I think most of us go in striving to see credits, but statistically very few players see the titles they buy through, to the point where even the biggest must-plays have shockingly low completion rates. I'm Scott from WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 video games you didn't realize nobody finished. Check the website for a variety of sources we use to put this together, as the article is available on WhatCulture.com. Number 10, Doom 2016. Doom's modern-day reboot has been one of the most successful IP revivals since 2011's Mortal Kombat. The self-aware way Doom Guy is written, his various upgrades, open-ended levels, faster paced than ever, and a liquid butter control scheme were all very welcome. However, the game actually has the lowest completion rate of any title in the series to date. Only 25% of PS4 players and less than 20% of Xbox One players have earned the achievement for completion. This is staggering given that it was the second best-selling game in both the US and the UK following its release. Number 9, Half-Life ALYX. Arguably the biggest video game meme going, 2020's Half-Life ALYX finally confirmed that Half-Life 3 is coming. Either that or it's another VR showcase, but scores of fans lost their minds at how this game wraps up. Set in between the two main games from the series, ALYX was designed to finally put VR gaming on the map. In a homage to its Half-Life 2 roots, much was made of the gravity gloves players use to interact with the world, as well as the atmosphere and survivalist elements that made a return from previous titles. Fascinatingly though, whilst acclaim for all of these things was pretty universal, ALYX saw a serious drop-off in completion rates, as only 5% of players have seen everything through in-game. Whilst the story takes around the same length of time as Half-Life 2, roughly 15 hours in total, it's bizarre that even those who forked out the cash to even access Half-Life ALYX never got to its biggest scene. Number 8, Battlefield 5. The forgotten installment in EA's otherwise stellar franchise, it was clear Battlefield 5 was fighting a losing battle when it was revealed that sales were 85% behind Call of Duty Black Ops 4. However, even the completion rates for those who did buy in are a bigger point of concern. Around 25% of players managed to soldier through Battlefield 4's story, but that number drops all the way down to just 10% for Battlefield 5. The game is known for lacking much in the way of innovation or creativity, but even with its mixed reputation, those who bought in still couldn't stick it out for very long. Number 7, Alien Isolation. Designed to resemble the dark, claustrophobic feel of Ridley Scott's timeless original movie, Alien Isolation is a true survival horror thrill ride. Seeing an invincible xenomorph stalk Ripley's daughter Amanda, we've got an extensive campaign that can take roughly 25 hours to complete. Despite being an acclaimed story and boasting some of the smoothest and well-polished survival horror mechanics in the genre, roughly only 15% of players have made it all the way to the end. Compare that to fellow survival horror game Resident Evil 7, which comes in at around 40% completion, and you have an indication that the story might have been just that little bit too long. Either that or the infuriating get backstabbed while you're saving animation really was too much. Number 6, Red Dead Redemption 2. Any game published by Rockstar is practically guaranteed a period of extensive marketing and hordes of sales, with Red Dead Redemption 2 being no different. We all played it, we all talked about it, we all shared videos of it, but hardly any of us got through the whole thing. Yes, turns out Red Dead 2 is actually one of the least completed games in Rockstar history, with only 25% of players seeing John Marsden's post-game ranch for themselves. Just like with every Rockstar release, Red Dead Redemption 2 is a mammoth game to plow through. Its story takes anywhere between 55 to 70 hours, and besides a relatively sluggish feel that did put off some people over time, you've also got a hyper-detailed world full of distractions. Number 5, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Another one of Rockstar's releases that at the time was really pushing the boundaries of open world experimentation, San Andreas is certainly beloved, but it seems not for the story. Arguably the most famous game to have come out of the golden age of PS2 and original Xbox, GTA San Andreas featured an impressive new world for players to explore, alongside a whole host of new ways to interact. All of this though meant that you could just spend hours climbing Mount Chiliad or jetpacking your way across the desert, as only 20% of players saw those final missions. Every self-respecting Rockstar fan might be able to recite Big Smoke's drive-thru order by heart, but only a fifth of the player base brought him down. Number 4, Far Cry 2. The discerning Far Cry fans' Far Cry, number 2 is a strange old beast. Way more sim-like in nature, with guns that can jam and a literal malaria infection hampering your movements every 20 minutes, it's easy to see why you'd either love or hate what Ubisoft did. Set in the heartland of Central Africa during the middle of a bloody civil war, you're stuck pursuing an evil arms dealer known as the Jackal. The main storyline takes around 20 hours, longer than Far Cry 3 but shorter than 4, yet completion stats vary wildly between these 3 games. Both Far Cry 3 and 4 have a completion rate around 60%, something that, considering this list, is really high. Far Cry 2 though, that comes in with just 20%. Now backwards compatible on Xbox and Josh Brown's favourite game, all capitalised, at least he would recommend you still check out Far Cry 2. Number 3, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. With over 140 million sales and 13 years under its belt, yes really, Assassin's Creed is a teenager at this point, Ubisoft continue to ride this cash cow almost every single year. From hidden blades and haystacks to free running across a city's buildings, the first big swerve in game design was Black Flag, which saw the series become half Hitman, half pirate sim. Fascinatingly though, whilst this is cited as where everybody came back on board after Assassin's Creed 3 was received super negatively, its completion stats are the second lowest in the whole franchise. With Assassin's Creed Origins at 52%, understandable given how stupidly huge it is, Black Flag is just a couple percent more with 54%. I guess this is why everybody always talks about just how awesome all the pirate stuff is, versus discussing how the story pans out. Number 2, Final Fantasy VI. Released in April of 1994, Final Fantasy VI is one of the most acclaimed RPGs ever made, standing out from previous titles in the franchise thanks to a steampunk style and various improvements across animation and graphical models. A wide variety of alternate endings and character writing in general is routinely celebrated by critics and fans alike, with the game reaching a level of depth through plot and world design that few have ever matched since. It's a little sad then how Final Fantasy VI's completion data compares to the rest of the saga. Don't get me wrong, finishing a Final Fantasy is a big ask for a mass populace, but Final Fantasy 3, 4 and 5 all hover around 15%, with the illustrious 6 dropping to just 10%. Yes, a tenth of everybody who tried Final Fantasy VI actually got through it. If you're looking for something to get totally lost in while we wait until normality resumes, give Final Fantasy VI a shot. And number 1, Call of Duty Black Ops 3. The balmiest entry in the Black Ops side series that's regarded in retrospect as full-on what the hell was going on, even Blops 3's marketing was losing its damn mind. In one of the most controversial strategies in gaming history, the official Call of Duty Twitter page changed its name to Current Events Aggregate, back in September of 2015. They would then post cryptic messages about the news, one of which covering a totally fictional terrorist attack in Singapore. Of course, Activision were forced to apologise when it was finally revealed that this was all a marketing stunt. Still, while the plot was a dream-hopping what's real, what's not blur of Inception-like craziness, still got Black Ops 3 to the top sales spot. Filled with improvements and the fastest time to kill yet, something that would go on to divide the fans, there was a surprising amount of content for players to sink their teeth into. Still, that campaign really was some outright madness, and only 10% of players saw it through. Interestingly though, the average for all Call of Duty campaigns is only 25%. Now you can kinda see why Activision are always so back and forward, as only a quarter of the Call of Duty fanbase ever really plays the single player. And those are just 10 video games you didn't realise nobody finished. Favourites down in the comments below, and please check out the WhatCulture Gaming Podcast. We upload on Tuesdays and Fridays. For now, I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com, and I'll catch you soon.